Trash, Part 5, Chapter 5. June, no longer rat. My name is June June. And the boys have given me the last part of the story. I guess because the last part was my idea. They dispute that. Gardo says it was his because he was the only one of us who met Mr. Gabriel, but I was the one who knew how to do it. And it did get done at what was once my home, or just above it. Also, Raphael, he had the whole first part of the story. And I think he knows we tell it together better because we're a team now. Who cares in the end? Who cares who did what when the whole point was we did it together? We talked it all out, asking the same questions. What do you do with $6 million? How are you going to spend it? Or what would we do, the three of us? Line up in the bank the next morning and ask to put it in a safe? Bury it someplace else? The one thing we knew is that as soon as we had it, it would be taken away. You think we stood a chance at keeping even a million? So I said we should take it to Bahala and put it in the trash for anyone who finds it. Maybe it was the brandy, but what I remember is the boys just laughing at me and laughing at each other. We shook it all out of the coffin, into the sack and the sheet. Jose Angelico's money, the money stolen by the senator vice president from hell, from all his own people. We roped up the sack and the sheet and got them on our backs. We took them over the wall, just in case the gates were guarded. Every gate in the city is. We stopped off for Pia, of course, and she was so sleepy I had to carry her on my back. So Gardo took one sack, Raphael the other, and off we went into the wind, which was getting strong now, racing along the streets and making a noise, rolling trash ahead of it. Who did we meet? Who else would we meet but a little gang of baby trash boys doing the night shift, scavenging about with a cart? Gardo showed them a note, and it was like a charm. Half a minute, and our bags were in the cart, and Pia was on the crossbar, and we were pedaling through the streets, all of us clinging on and singing out. Who's going to stop a crowd of filthy trash kids fooling in the night? We passed a police car sitting by a junction. We even waved. It was the early hours of the morning, and the wind was behind us all the way, and we sailed past statues of all the quiet office blocks until we found the road that goes up to the dump site. We put Pia on the saddle, and the rest of us got off and pushed, running as fast as we could, so she was laughing too. No police cars, nothing, but we still took no chances. Saying goodbye to the cycle boys finally, and creeping in sideways up the canal. My first thing was the school, the mission school. So I took a great handful of notes, put them down my shirt, and I did just what Gardo had told me we'd do. I skinned up the corner and was in through the bars. It seemed my good old friend, Father Juilliard, you see, still hadn't fixed them, sir. I could still get through. Maybe you were hoping I'd be back. I'm joking. I put the money on his desk and grabbed a pen. I put my name again, big and black, and next to all that I could think of was flowers. So that's why I drew you a bunch as fast as I could, bursting up and open. Then I had my very next brilliant idea, which, who knows, maybe saved our lives like all the other times. Gardo says all I do is brag and take credit. We all had good ideas all the time, but this one was genius, because how else would we have blended into the morning? Why it hit me, I don't know. I guess all of us have to keep thinking ahead and looking out for danger. Or maybe Gabriel and Jose were still with us even this far. Maybe they'd been pushing that bike with us. Or maybe I just saw the cupboard, I don't know. The point was, this was Father Juilliard's office. There were cupboards full of odds and ends, and one of them was the crazy school uniform store. Little shirts and shorts. They'd been donated to us years before by some charity volunteer who thought all the kids ought to look the same, like proper school kids. But it never caught on. To make us feel like a real school, I imagine, this kind person had given about 100 white shirts and 100 blue shorts and 100 little dresses. There were packets and packets, little slippers too. There were backpacks and the kind kids put their school books in, but there was scarcely a book in the place. What are the kids here going to carry apart from trash? The backpacks had the charity name, big and bold, all over them, so you'll never forget who's being so nice. So I grabbed a load of everything and pushed it out of the bars. Then I followed them down where they fell, and we didn't even need to speak. We knew where we were going. First, we opened up 4 of the backpacks and stuffed them with dollars. We stuffed them full and zipped them up. Then we turned back to what was left, which was most of it, and we took off every paper band, the bands that kept hundreds bundled into 10,000s. They were blowing around already, so we got them into the sheet and the sack and bundled them up again. I tell you, the dump site was alive now because of the wind. Dust and grit was blowing about, and little bits of trash were whirling. The plastic roofs were flapping too, and a bit of metal sheet was banging. There was a very little bit of light in the sky, way over by the dock cranes, but no one was about just yet, or nobody saw us. We probably had 10 or 15 minutes before dawn, before the ghosts had to say goodbye and slip away. So we hauled everything to my old home, to where the big broken belt number 14, just points up at the sky doing nothing. No, I did not go down to see my friend the rats. Pia stayed on the ground looking up at us with the clothes and the bags. Then I went up first with the rope end and pulled on it. Gardo and Raphael came next, taking the weight, and I went up and up and up. The wind was just getting stronger and my shirt was flapping. I felt like I was on a ship because the whole belt frame was moving. We got the first bundle up right to the top, and I could see way over Bahala, way over the city, way out to the sea. Then Raphael came up next to me, crying out he was so happy, just shouting into the wind, and we held each other and howled. We took handfuls of the money then and threw them up into the sky. The notes spilled out and whirled. It was a storm of money. Typhoon Therese, I later heard, racing from South China, and the next day the rains would burst. Right now, the wind got under all the cash we could throw and pushed it up and out and spun it right across the land. Soon my arm was aching. Raphael stopped shouting and just clung there, exhausted. We did the next bundle more slowly, and as it got lighter, Gardo came up too, right up to the top of the belt, and he had strong arms, and he helped us throw the rest. When Gardo came, the wind rose up even more, and we were clinging to that crane. It was a hurricane, and a hurricane of money. We must have thrown $5.5 million over the dump site, and that wild wind took it all over the whole of our big, beautiful, terrible town. At the bottom of it all, what did we find? We found another letter slipped in with the cash. It was from Jose Angelico, so Gardo stuffed it down his shirt. We dropped to the sheet. We slowly climbed down, and we were dizzy. Pia was waiting for us by the rucksacks. She'd unwrapped the clothes and put the plastic packets into a pile and was sitting on them. We changed. We washed our faces by the school tap. Then we made our way out of Bahala. I wanted to watch. I wanted to hang back and see what happened when the first trash boy of the morning hooked up, not a step, but $100 bill. Gardo was firm, though, and I'd come to see that you didn't cross Gardo, not to his face. Raphael had goodbyes to say, and I could see him lingering. Then again, so did Gardo. In the end, I think they knew it was easier to go without goodbyes. There was no choice. And I saw Gardo put his arm round Raph and lead him on. He said we had a train to catch, so we went off and caught it.